Welcome to the first week of Advent and the first session of our learning and study series, Calling All Angels. I'm Erin Wathen. I'm the pastor of Grace Emmanuel United Church of Christ in Louisville, and I'm glad that you get to visit with me in our historic sanctuary for just a bit as we begin this Advent journey together. It was my first visit to the Art Institute of Chicago. It was a Saturday and a beautiful fall day, so of course it was insanely crowded. The art was incredible, but so was the sensory overload. But then I stepped into the Tadao Ando Gallery. It's a dimly lit room off to the side in the Japanese collections area. There were some amazing pieces in there, but the room itself was art. The architecture, the lighting, the almost complete silence compared to the space I'd just left. Everything about it was intentional and completely immersive. Coming in from the chaos on the other side of the wall, that room had all the effects of a sensory deprivation tank. My nervous system responded immediately, and I felt this incredible peace. In fact, I was a little reluctant to leave that room when the rest of my family was ready to go look at other stuff. They eventually got me to come on with them, though. In Chapter 1 of Calling All Angels, you'll hear about Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky and its history of providing a space completely devoid of sound and light. Now, a space of complete silence and darkness may not sound at all appealing. But what if we think about such a place as respite from the constant noise, chaos, input, and confusion of the world? A sanctuary. Zechariah the priest was in just such a place, preparing the temple for worship as the faithful gathered in what was certainly a noisy anticipation outside the doors. And in that set-apart place, an angel of the Lord appeared and told the aging man that he was going to be a father. It's important to name that there are some prosperity gospel vibes in this story that are problematic. The idea that bearing a healthy child reflects God's favor has harmed women and men for centuries. We will unwind some of that context in this chapter. And we'll think about how we might unlearn some of the theology that can be so limiting to how we experience the goodness of God. And putting all of that aside, what does the story of Zechariah's surprise and sudden change of life still have to teach us that gives life today? Zechariah, who would be the father of John the Baptist, had some legitimate fears in that moment, but the angel said, "Do not be afraid," and then promptly took the man's voice away, so he was forced to spend 9 months of waiting in silence. I wonder if we also need to find spaces of silence and sanctuary in order to process our fears. We sometimes need to find a place of external stillness and quiet so we can access an inward spiritual space that is often hard to find in the midst of our sensory overload. Have you ever found such a place where the noise of the world just stops and you can let the internal dialogue stop too for just a moment? What does God speak to you in those places that you wouldn't otherwise hear? Join us for Chapter 1 and what I hope will feel like sanctuary.